thing? Okay, all right, I'll get you set up.
Is it okay for you? Hello? Well, anyway, I just can start here. We're from, I'm Patricio from Barcelona Supercomputing Center. Keep in mind that we are a public research center. This is important because most of people think that we are private. We are a public institution. And I'm not the main speaker here. Yeah, okay. So just to say I'm not the main speaker, just here just to frame what Serena led in this project. So, I mean, what you will see now is that yeah, the project is framed into what we call BCT. I mean, it's a kind of a project to try to democratize digital tools for cities. And what's that? I mean, it's kind of maybe you have heard this idea of digital twins and digital twins for cities. We're trying to democratize the technology so in such a way any city can use the tools, okay, in an open way, as open as possible. And that's why we're partnering with the city. The idea is that we truly believe that we need to get feedback from the citizens to help these solutions. And this is why BCT is kind of a human-centric platform. I mean, this is not a slogan. We believe that this is like the way to go, even though we are the techie people in the room, maybe. We really believe that these solutions should be human-centric. And that's why we're partnering with the city as well. So I'm not going to go into details, but just go to the webpage. It's bcity.tech. So we're preparing a platform, but we also be involved in use cases, and that's why we're partnering with the city. So for example, we're working with Barcelona in proximity, air quality, cycling, how to extend cycle lanes, mobility as well, and sustainability. So if you really, just feel free to reach out to me if you need to get into more details. So that's you.
Yeah. Okay, so can you hear me fine? So one of the use cases for the proximity area of the city is the study we conducted on the accessibility of Barcelona climate shelters for youth vulnerable populations. So first of all, what is a climate shelter? I mean, climate shelter are public spaces designed to provide protection during extreme weather events. Our case study is Barcelona, so we analyzed summer climate shelters, but winter ones do exist as well. The Barcelona network comprises of 360 summer shelters, which are located in indoor spaces such as libraries, schools, or civic centers, or in outdoor spaces such as parks and gardens. And these are places that are free to access, where a person can go into and they can find fresh water, seating, and some of them organize activities. So it's a network that is activated by the municipalities during the summer months and during the winter months to provide a refuge for people. So the official municipal data say that 98% of residents have a climate shelter within a 10-minute walk of their residence. However, what we wanted to dig a little bit deeper into the data to see if this was actually the case, and especially focusing on heat vulnerable population. So what do we mean by heat vulnerable population? And where are they located in Barcelona? According to a report by Lancet Conduct Europe report, the people that are more vulnerable during this type of weather conditions are children under 4 and older adults. So the first step that we did, and this is like interactive map, is to map their density in Barcelona. So darker color means more density. I'm actually like a background. I'm an economist turned geographer, so you're going to see a lot of maps in this presentation. So the first step is to map, to define who are the vulnerable population and map where they are in Barcelona. Okay, so this is, yeah, you can go. So to go back to our research questions, are vulnerable population covered by climate shelters in Barcelona? You can, yeah. And this is the results, which I hopefully is gonna, yeah, okay. It's gonna, so as you can see, the white dots is where the climate shelters are. And we made it so that this is like interactive. You can click on the dot and see what type of shelter it is. And the blue area is the coverage. What does the coverage means is basically if you live in the blue area, you have a shelter accessible in 10 minutes walking. And we recalculated these 10 minutes to, normally in papers you see, when you see 10 minutes, like it is not scaled on the person who walks. So it's like it takes into consideration an average adult, which normally walks at 5 kilometers per hour. We rescale this to 3,28 kilometers per hour to basically indicate a lower pace of a child or an older person. So everything that you see in blue is covered by a shelter. And there are some spaces for those of you who are familiar with the city. This is close to Hospitalet, doesn't have accessibility, and this part as well in Eixample Esquerra, creo, and like some parts of Les Corts. So the results is that 90% of vulnerable residents in the city have access to a shelter within 10 minutes walking, and 35,000 do not have this type of service available by walking. Okay. So, I mean, first glance, the coverage is not as is quite good. However, we wanted to look a little bit more into the data to see if we can improve accessibilities. So the first analysis that we conducted is to look at the variation by district. As you know, Barcelona has 10 districts, which are agglomeration of neighborhoods. So there is quite a difference between, I mean, all of them reach 75% of population covered. However, there is quite a difference between Ciutat Vella and like Les Corts and Sants and Montjuïc. But actually, this is kind of the next result is the most interesting one. Hopefully, the map is gonna upload. Yeah, no, maybe. Okay, so the program is activated throughout the July. Yeah, no, July, August, and September months. And what we found out is that you can start the animation. Basically, what happens in August, yeah, many shelter close. So there is a reduction, 40% of the shelter, in theory, they have to provide refuge for people. Actually, in the August, they're closed, which, I mean, is also the hottest month. So yeah, still 75% of vulnerable residents are covered, but it's quite a big difference from the 98% go down to 90, down to 75 in August. So yeah, next one. Okay, so basically, so we kind of answered the question, our research question, which was the accessibilities. How is the accessibility of climate shelter for vulnerable population in Barcelona? And we saw that despite some gaps, is quite good. However, the City Council does have an objective to improve accessibility for all the citizens. Like all the citizens should have access to a climate shelter within a 5-minute walk-in by 2030. And although this target demonstrates quite a commitment to equitable access, it does comes with some challenges. So, for example, we identified extending operating hours, diversifying shelter type, because you might have accessibility to like a swimming pool, but you maybe don't want to go to a swimming pool to find protection. And also like managing capacity, which is a variable we did not analyze in our study, which is like denser areas. Maybe the shelter cannot accommodate all the people that need to access it. But especially what we will try to do in the collaboration with the City Council is to kind of shift the paradigm between what is spatially covered. So all the city should have the blue map, to like a people-centric approach. So how many people can access this type of services? So yeah. So another important part is we try to make we try to share knowledge and make these kind of things available to the public. So we created an interactive map available in English, Catalan, and Spanish, where you can kind of filter by category. So you can put the civic centers, which is, I like this example. You can see all the civic center available to you as climate shelters, and you can also do it by month. So you can see this is availability of this type of shelter in July, and as soon as you filter August, is quite reduced. So anyway, this is what we're trying to do in the proximity lab, and yeah, let's get in touch if you want to. I don't know, this part is yours normally, so if you want to collaborate. But yeah.
Wonderful. A round of applause, please.